Very often people say, oh, that was magic, when they're talking about singing or dancing or music. And I don't think they realise quite how accurate that statement is. The word is sound, vibration. In the beginning was the word, is our creation mythology. And yet there's so much profundity of wisdom in that idea that life is simply vibration, and it has tone and attitude, and that which vibrates in a certain way has the tendency of making something else which is similar vibrating in a certain way. And we find the idea of harmony arises then. And if you resonate with another person well, then you'll create harmony. And if you don't, then you won't. You'll very often experience disharmony. We all know this. So what we do in in the practice of magic is we use this. We don't just understand, generally speaking, that dance is magical and that sound is good and so on. We study it and we use what we have learned. So on one level, we can be talking about the qualities inherent within certain languages. Each language has its own combination of tone and intonation and vowels and consonants, and that makes a big difference to the quality of the language. If you go to Estonia, for example, it sounds like they're living in the fairy world. Oh, da 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 da. It sounds like a song. But if you go to Israel, you know, it's like really hard. I've not done justice to those two, but that's what it happened to do on my ear. And you kind of notice different languages have a different effect upon you. And if you just take that idea into the area of prayer, for example, which is a form of magic, then, for example, we might say the line, in the beginning was the Word and the Word was God, in the English language. If you say the same kind of idea in Arabic, it would sound differently, and it would have a different effect upon your mood. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Feels different, doesn't it? Whereas in Aramaic, they're not substantively different meanings, really, but the emotional quality associated with each of them is totally different. And if we study this in the different realm, in the realm of music, it's pretty obvious that a guitar will make a different effect than a whistle or a drum. And a lot of magic is about that. It's about creating an effect. Half of magic is creating the atmosphere that is conducive to move us into a higher state wherein clear intention has more effect. So creating the atmosphere is very easy if you're musical. If you can speak in a foreign tongue, particularly a mantric language, or you can sing in a way that changes the mood, or if you can play an instrument. And it's not a big deal to learn to play an instrument. The drum, for example, and the whistle are very easily learned, and they create an extraordinarily powerful effect upon the mood. I was not a drummer, but I just picked up a drum somewhere when I was doing my magical rituals when I first started out. And it just pulled me into a certain state of being. And if there's no music in the atmosphere and somebody starts to play a tin whistle, very simply, 2 notes, 3 notes, it makes a huge difference. So we could perhaps learn to use music in our magical processes as a way of bringing the ritual atmosphere into being. And we could look also at the idea that dance is magical in a very specific way. Now, in my personal experience and training, I've used a form of dance to carry prayer and mantra called Dances of Universal Peace, and it's extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary what states we could get into using that form of magic. Unbelievable. And I got involved in a dance contest, strange sort of sense, in Moscow. No, Petersburg it was. And this old lady, she was in her 80s, and the dance master of the city, and I was going there to teach dances, and there was this who's he, and we did different dances one after one another, and we were just showing each other, partly a cultural exchange, partly friendship, but partly just a little check to see if we both knew what we were doing. And the contest, the game, the celebration, the affair, whatever, ended when she got her girls, 5 of them, just lined up and moved towards me. I was standing in front of them just to feel the power of their dance. And they just stepped gently forward 2 steps and back 1 step, and gently forward 2 steps and back 1 step, as they were singing this strange folk melody which had kind of a Bulgarian harmonies, it sounded to my ear, where you use the root note in the second, and it's very unusual to the Western ear. I was scared. And the purpose of their dance was to clear the fields of evil spirits before they planted it. And no evil spirit would be able to withstand the power of that dance. Dancing is good. It really is powerful, and it clears your emotional system. If you dance freely, then you find yourself raised and freed. A friend of mine, Loic, spoke on this point, and I'll show you what he said.
Funny enough, a week ago, that was my first time participating in a kind of a somatic dance class, like something that is very much into the freedom of free dancing and community, and I really enjoyed it. I'm naturally dancer, like I was born in really an atmosphere where dancing was already there. But that was an experience that I never had before. So it's funny that there is this aspect of freedom, because it's just this freedom in community that I experienced there. One thing that I also thought of, and that was connected to my work as kind of the culture hat in my work, that aspect of unleashing the creativity within myself to be creative, finding solutions really fast, and that creativity, or going into that creative process, unleashing the productivity of the people, of the coworkers. So this aspect of what I would want, or what I would wish when it comes to leaders, is how to speak to that unleashing of the creativity and the productivity of the people that they here to serve. This is something that I experience in my work lately.
So, whether you do it alone or whether you do it in a group, whether you do it in a sacred way or rock and roll, let the music in. Just allow yourself to be a part of the magic of music. It works. It changes who you are.